What's up, guys? Welcome to the Talkin'Smack Sports podcast. This is our first episode. I'm your host, Tommy, and I'm here with Jake. What's up, Jake?
What's up, guys?
So, today we're just gonna keep it pretty simple. We're just gonna talk some NBA. What's been going on recently? It was a crazy week in the NBA. Obviously, we're recording this on Monday night. So, DeMarcus Cousins just like an hour and a half ago signed with the Golden State Warriors. So we'll get into that later and how that affects the whole NBA. But for now, I'm just gonna have Jake go over recap some of the smaller deals we've seen.
All right, so these are some of the smaller to medium level signings so far in this free agency. So first we have Chris Paul, not surprisingly, re-signing for big money, $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Everyone saw that coming though.
Yep.
Boogie, as Tommy said just recently. DeAndre Jordan, pretty big one, finally going through with that Dallas deal, just 1 year.
Yep. 3 years later, yep, he finally decides to do it.
And then we got Ariza, which is probably the biggest name out of all of these, signing 1 year with the Suns.
Yeah, he kind of knew he had to do that.
That move's probably just to alleviate cap space with Houston.
Yeah, it was going to be awkward, kind of, if he tried to reach out with Houston and couldn't get anything. So
and then
that makes that team pretty interesting. But
that's basically all of them that we won't be touching on later. So
I like the veterans going to the young teams. I like that with the Mavericks and the Suns.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Good moves, helping out their young cores probably. Too bad the West is so good. They have no shot, but they'll be interesting to watch at least. They'll probably be 30 to 35, maybe 40 win teams. Dallas probably a little better, obviously, but we'll see. Yeah. So now we'll get into the bigger deals later, but I'm just going to ask some questions to Jake about what he thinks about the future, not the future, but the next few weeks, what could happen, mostly with trades. So what do you think about Portland and Washington's backcourts? Two very interesting situations.
So they're both Washington's just in a different scenario, just because they're in a vortex of mediocrity. 6, 7, 8 seed, somewhere in there, just year after year. They make it in, they don't do anything. It's just the same thing. It seems like they have the same team almost all the time, but it's...
Yeah, but isn't that true with Portland too, though?
Yes, that's what...
I mean, obviously they're better.
Yeah,
that's
what I was getting
I feel like they're very similar.
I think both teams have to make moves, just because you can't make noise doing the same thing. They say if it's don't broke, fix it. Well, it's broke, so fix it. That's just the way I see it. And I think you just gotta clean house with Washington. Get what you can for Wall. Get a young core. You can get a lot for Dame and McCollum. I don't know if you want to get rid of both of them at the same time, but they have Nurkic. They have Myers Leonard, who I guess has shown some promise. But other than that guard spot, they really don't have much going for them on both teams.
Yeah, see, I agree, but I feel like the situations are a little different in terms of who to trade because John Wall just he's had some problems with the locker room with Marcin Gortat, obviously, during this year. They had a little scuffle about John Wall not playing defense. John Wall got hurt. They were better, so I feel like John Wall has to be the move out of Washington. Bradley Beal has held his own. Maybe you roll with him. It's kind of like the Warriors situation with both of them where they have to choose one. Warriors obviously made the right decision. Just got to hope these teams do the same. With Portland, I feel it's a little harder than the Washington decision because obviously Damian Lillard is amazing. He was first team All-NBA this year. You can argue if that was deserved or not, but obviously he's a top 2 3-point guard in the NBA. But CJ is also good, so that's a hard decision. They're obviously a better roster, more talented, be a completely different story if they're in the East, but they're not. So they need to think about changing their team a little bit if they want to have any chance.
Yeah, especially in that Western Conference. You're either a contender or you're not. There's
at this point, after the news today,
there's nothing you can do.
It's really just the Warriors or you're not a contender.
I think if you're, especially Portland, you just look to the future at this point. You're not gonna...
You can't, tank,
you obviously can't tank, but...
In a small market especially, you can't just...
Yeah, because then you lose complete interest from anybody and everybody, but
they haven't improved their team at all. Oh, no, they got Seth Curry, but that's all they've done. It's not even improving their team. And every other Western Conference team's improved, it feels, so...
Yeah.
They were the 3 seed this year with an amazing year. They're going to be 7, 8. Are they even they might not even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll notch
Crazy to
them in
say
there at
that,
the
but-
7th seed. I think Damian
Yeah.
Lillard and McCollum
figure
can
it
get
out. They're
enough
good
done,
enough.
but
Yeah.
if they don't clean house soon, I just don't think anything good's
Yeah,
going to
they're
come
just going
to
to
them.
keep going backwards because all these teams are getting better.
They're not,
Damian Lillard, they're hitting their prime
Yeah.
right now. You got to trade one of them right now. Try to get, I don't know, you'd have to trade both to get Kawhi, so that's not what they want to do, but someone's got to be out there that's like, I don't even know, they need a wing probably, right? It's a
Yeah.
wings league, they don't have any
Yep.
wings.
I
A wing not named Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
I can't even think of anyone that's available. Paul George would have been cool, but he wasn't even an option.
Yeah. We'll touch on that later as well.
Yeah. And I just have one more question. Not really in the future, but do you think that LeBron now regrets going to Los Angeles with the new news of Boogie?
Yes and no. Obviously, we don't understand what's going through his mind when he makes these types of decisions. Is he going for his family? Is he going to genuinely win? Is he going to have a place to retire? Does he just love the city? Whatever. Obviously, he has many businesses there. He loves it. He has houses. We all know this. But obviously, he's a competitor. One of the best competitors the league's ever seen. I feel like he might be a little bothered that all this has gone down, and all these possibilities that were Paul George, that were Kawhi still available, obviously, but that were Paul George, Boogie. Those two are off the table, So it's like you only have a few. You only have a few guys they're targeting. Well, 2 of them are already gone.
Yeah.
And they have no.
And at this point, what's the point in trading for Kawhi when even if you get Kawhi, you're not competing.
Yeah.
You're really going to give up all those assets just to be the 4th seed instead of the 6th? No, right?
Yeah, that's what.
You got to wait for Kawhi because Kawhi. They waited for Paul George and you see what happened. It didn't work out, but I feel like Kawhi is a completely different. He might not even play this year if they don't trade him to the Lakers. So I think the Lakers absolutely should not trade for him. They need the assets. They just need to keep signing veterans, I guess, and try to be 6th seed, get to the second round, lose to the Rockets or the Warriors. They just got to try to beat every team that's not the Rockets or the Warriors. And I call that a successful season, I guess. The only bad thing, I think he doesn't regret it unless he really cares about that finals streak, which he didn't if he ran the risk of going to the same conference as the Warriors.
And then going back to that Kawhi deal, what I find interesting is that San Antonio is running this whole operation with zero leverage whatsoever. So I think it would be an awful mistake for LA to give away their young guns, Ball, Kuzma, Hart. Well, not as much Hart, but, those young guys.
Yeah.
They've already lost Randall.
Well, you forgot Ingram.
Ingram, Ingram, that's the one I left out. I think it would just be an awful mistake to trade away all those guys to a Spurs team that has nothing. He won't even play for them.
Mm-hmm. I think Philly is the move, but Philly's got to wait because they're obviously. I think they just do a rental at the trade deadline when the value's at the all-time low. They can maybe do Covington Sarge in a first rounder, and just call it a day. Like that really good first rounder they got, the 2021 Heat one, and just call it a day. And I think that at that point there's no way San Antonio doesn't accept that. Covington's a good 3-and-D piece. Sarge is. Whatever.
He showed his.
Then Philly can make a run for the finals. They'll obviously lose, but just getting to the finals with this big deal with this young team they have.
Going back to Sarge just real quick, I actually really like the way he plays. I watched him in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, but he's nothing special.
He's nothing special, but he has shown that he can score with some of the best of them. So I think he's a really good
Right
piece.
now, they would need, if they wanted him for the full year, they would have to include Fultz probably.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do that because Fultz, I still believe in Fultz.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I still think he can be, not James Harden, obviously. That was a horrible comparison they made. Like, showing to Steph Curry bad. But, it's fine. It's...
Yeah.
He's still going to be probably a productive scoring point guard, maybe off the bench. Probably not the best first overall pick ever, but definitely going to be good for that team, I would say.
Yes.
Okay, so we pretty much touched on the Kawhi trade market too. Cousins, with the 1-2 combo of LeBron signing with the Lakers yesterday and Cousins signing with the Warriors today was probably the worst possible situation for the Spurs. Like, I couldn't think of anything worse that could happen for the Spurs. And Paul George staying in OKC,
Yeah.
the start of free agency has been horrible for them in terms they lost all the leverage they might have had.
Yeah, they have.
Now, everyone knows that there's no point in going for these people because they're not going to beat the Warriors this year. Warriors have 3 expirings next year, so that next summer is going to be really interesting.
The crazy thing to me is, like, the start of free agency, it was just wide open. There's so many players out there, and, like, in the blink of an eye, everyone's gone. Who is left?
There's no money. There's no money.
Exactly. Who is left? There's nobody even left up there.
No one's left. DeMarcus was the last guy.
You can say Clint Capella could be a good piece on many teams. Marcus Smart.
Restricted, though. They're probably going to match everything at this point.
That's what I would assume.
Since they didn't get a reason or anything, they have to.
Tyreek Evans, the Warriors have said
he'll probably go to the Warriors.
I
heard he might go to the Warriors on a
they have a good relationship with the Warriors. I think Tyreek does. There's nobody up here. Jabari Parker.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take a risk on these young restricted guys, like who is Levine, obviously. If you want to take a risk on them,
that's what
the Bulls aren't going to match $25 million for Levine. If you want Levine,
no,
and you really want to take a risk on him, you can have him. Like the Kings have a lot of money to spend. They just want to go have some fun.
Yeah,
but no, these contenders, there's no one left for a contending team. I mean, there's old guys those beyond one, but there's no difference makers other than barely rotation players really. It's only just the Warriors filling out their bench and the Rockets and the Lakers filling out their benches.
Yeah.
It's depressing, man. It all happened so fast. We've got to hope there's some good trades coming, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move into more in depth on LeBron and the Lakers. Okay. So, obviously, LeBron signed a 4-year. I don't know what was the money.
$154 million.
It's the max, yeah. 3 + 1, I believe. So he gives himself that player option as he always does.
Yeah.
He does lock himself up for 3 years though, but I think he's going to probably be there for the rest of his career unless he wants to go play with his son.
Yeah.
Actually, conveniently enough, I'm pretty sure that this deal, the 4th year, is if high school players are allowed to jump, then Bronny will be like a rookie that year. So he'll be able to be a free agent and sign if he wants to play on the same team as his son. Obviously, he'll probably be a high draft pick, not a bad team, but we'll see how that's way in advance. But so let's talk about who the Lakers signed after LeBron. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So they signed. Surprisingly, probably one of the most surprising signings of this free agency is Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before that, they signed. If you guys don't know, they signed JaVale McGee, Lance Stevenson, and was there one more?
JaVale, Lance.
Oh, they re-signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which were all questionable signings. Yes. They gave Kentavious Caldwell-Pope $12 million, folks. Boogie just signed for $6 million. That's whatever. Is he even a start? He's not even a starter on that team. And you paid him $12 million, but apparently they knew that Boogie wasn't coming, so they're just spending the rest of because they have that max slot. So they're just loading up 1-year contracts. They also get JaVale McGee, obviously. Lance Stevenson made 4.5, and Rajon, as you said, is making 9.
Yeah.
And why does that change? That trade just doesn't make any. That signing just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense in the fact that they have the point guard of the future.
Absolutely, same mold too.
They can definitely find a better, younger option to play the backup point, whoever that may be, Josh Hart, whatever.
Yeah, because Rondo wants to start.
Yeah.
Is what I've been hearing.
I would highly doubt Rajon Rondo's a starting point guard. I don't think he's on any good team in the NBA. He's not a starting point guard.
No. Not even bad teams because they have point guards that want to develop.
What I found.
We've learned that you need a good scoring. When's the last time there wasn't a good scoring point guard?
Yeah, on a good team
to win the championship. Yeah, it's never happened.
Other than one thing that surprised me actually was Rajon is only 32. I thought he was he was a hair older than that, maybe 34.
So he was with the 06 draft class. He went to Kentucky for 1 year, and he's got to be 06, right? 05,
Yeah, somewhere
06,
in there.
something like that. Yeah, I thought he was more 34.
Yeah, I thought he was definitely older than LeBron.
I thought he was more Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade kind of age.
He's just kind of been around forever, one of those guys, like a Derrick Rose. I mean, just like that
oh
type
my
of
gosh, is Derrick Rose even 30?
No, I think he's the same age as Westbrook.
How depressing
so I think
is
that's
that?
28, 29, something in there.
Yeah, that's brutal.
So, back to what you were saying about the LeBron deal. Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is his choice for the rest of his career. I don't think when he's, what is he, going to be 34 next year? So if he stays all 4 years, when he's 37, 38.
Well, he's going to be 33. Oh,
Yes.
LeBron, you mean, yeah.
So when he's 37, 38, I don't think he's going to be making any moves with 1 year left in the tank, you know? Why would he make his family?
He could play till he's low 40s if he wanted to, but he probably won't want to just because, MJ had those bad years on his resume and it really just doesn't look good. He wants to play with his son. He's going to do 1 year with his son and end it. Not in the same team, just in the league at the same time and then end it.
I just don't think it makes any logical sense to pack up your whole lifestyle from LA and just move on out to wherever that may be, unless it's, I don't know, if it's, I can't think of any scenario.
His son is a very good basketball player. He's probably going to be drafted by top 5 pick, and that's not going to be a contender, so he's not. He just wants to play against him because he play against every team twice a year at least, so.
Yeah.
That's the goal there. He wants to be in LA, obviously. Who doesn't want to live in LA is really the question. I heard his son won't be like a big celebrity in high school. Like if his son went to high school in Akron, come on, he'd be the biggest thing in the world. He's gonna be like going to high school with other like celebrities. He's obviously still gonna be the biggest guy there, but it won't be. And high school basketball is also better in California, and he wants to live in California. He's got business ventures out there, and this team. It's obviously not. It's obviously more. He signed for 4 years because he knows it's not it's more than a 1 year project. They got Kawhi next year. There's other free agents. They can make a run at Clay. If they max out Clay, I find it hard to see Clay staying if they already have a good team set up there. Because LeBron and Clay, that's what I've been wanting for. I just think LeBron and Clay would be like one of the best duos in the NBA.
Yeah, one of the best catch and shoot guys. One of the best passers in the league. Yeah. Obviously,
I'd say the best catch and shoot
and
guy.
Probably the best passer in the league.
That guy gets open without dribbling.
Quite honestly,
and best moving without the ball. Maybe the 2 best passers in the league with Lonzo too. But that's also interesting because is this setting up for a Lonzo trade? This Rondo signing?
I don't think so. I think with between no more free agents. Well, obviously it would be a trade. I'm sorry, but I just don't. I obviously I don't think it would be for Kawhi, as we mentioned. I don't think they have any leverage to give away all these young guys.
But maybe they were planning on signing and trading for Kawhi, and then they saw this happen. And now they're doing a double take.
Yeah, I don't.
But they must. Do you think they didn't know?
They might not have.
That DeMarcus was. But I thought they were gonna make a run for DeMarcus, so that's why it wouldn't make sense to sign Rondo.
Yeah.
I was under the impression they knew that DeMarcus wasn't. I was under the impression they knew DeMarcus was staying.
He didn't even. DeMarcus didn't even. They didn't even meet with Cousins, did they?
No. It was Lakers. It was Lakers and Pelicans. Yeah. No. You know who was the happiest though about the other than the Warriors about the Pelicans? About DeMarcus, the Celtics.
That's true.
Because now the Pelicans are gonna be bad.
That's true.
But they did get Julius Randle, but still, they're gonna be bad, and they can. That's who they want. That's who they're saving their pieces for. They'll trade Jaylen Brown. They might even trade that Kings pick. They have a lot in there.
Yeah.
They'll do it because Anthony Davis isn't expiring like Kawhi is. He's there's no questions about his health. He's been a top 3 NBA. I think he's a top 3 NBA player. I even think he's underrated. Maybe. He's amazing. He's amazing. That starting lineup would be. Oh man, it would be good. They could actually make a run at the Warriors, I would say.
Yeah.
Don't you? If they can keep Tatum.
Yes.
They probably have to give up Brown. But then you still have Rozier's backup point guard. You obviously have your starting lineup is Kyrie, Tatum, Hayward, Horford, Anthony Davis. It's pretty good. Yeah. And their bench would be better than or equal to the Warriors. That would actually be Warriors. I'd still probably say Warriors in 6, but that'd be a decent series. We haven't even seen the Celtics team play at full strength. We have no idea. It might. Heck, they might even be overrated. People, there's only one ball and you got some scorers on that team. I'm interested to see how Tatum and Kyrie play, and Hayward and how they all play together.
Yeah, one quick thing I'm just gonna.
I don't know if they're as good as people think. Yeah.
One quick thing I'm just gonna throw in here. Brooke Lopez is an unrestricted free agent. Do you think?
Yeah, I see him going back.
You see him going back? Okay. I was just gonna throw that out there because that could be, if he gets signed by someone else, obviously that could be really bad for the Lakers. Yeah. I mean, they would have.
He said he'd come back, but he didn't anticipate only getting LeBron. He thought he was getting Paul George.
Yeah, I mean,
he thought they were gonna, and he didn't see DeMar. If he was a title contender, he could end up on the Warriors.
Yeah. Do you think?
But I think he'll stay.
Do you think Brooke? Do you like Brooke Lopez? Do you think he's a good point guard? I mean, do you think he's a good center in the league?
I think he's pretty average.
Yeah, I would say the same.
He's kind of developing a mid-range game. 3-point game.
Yeah, he showed he could shoot the ball last year.
He's still kind of stuck in the old center mold, and he's been an average center his whole life.
And
he was never really on a good team. Like that Nets team was never good.
Mm-hmm.
The horrible trade team.
Yeah, like I agree. I agree with that,
like,
just because.
I have really nothing to say.
He's always been on mediocre to bad teams, which obviously make the player look much better than they are.
I have nothing bad to say about him, but I also have nothing good
to
say.
He would. Just watching him last year, he got really a little almost reckless with his 3-point shooting, and obviously with LeBron on the team, I think that just won't fly.
That team had no one
that's
though.
True.
When you think about it, Kuzma was their best shooter.
But I saw a couple just highlights here and there. He would catch and pull up from the hash and like miss badly.
Wow.
So I don't.
Yeah, Steph. We got Steph up here.
I just don't know. All right, let's move on here.
Okay, next is Paul George. Same question we had for LeBron. Do you think he regrets staying with OKC? I don't get why did he sign with OKC. Can you tell me why he signed with OKC? Do you know?
I have no idea. I don't know, unless it's like a confidence we can do it thing. I don't know logically how you could put any.
Well, now there's no
exactly,
confidence.
But even without Boogie, there's no way OKC could. I don't think they could take the Warriors to 6. I think it would be 5 or 4.
They lost to
the
team with their best
Utah.
scorer was a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. And they have
no disrespect to Utah at all. They were great. Donovan Mitchell was awesome, but still, this team has 3 All-Stars. And I've heard a lot of hate to Morello, but I heard someone saying it's a big change going from being the number 1 scorer your whole life to just all of a sudden being the 3rd or 4th option.
That is true.
And not getting the ball for 8 to 10 possessions straight.
That is true.
After touching it every possession can really put you out. But he's still horrible, and he's not worth half of $28 million that he's earning.
I think they're gonna give this one more shot simply because look at the background. Well, before the.
They're paying so much tax too.
But before Paul George signed, I think they decided to try one more time just to see if they could make any noise. Simply because, look at their backgrounds. Paul George comes from Indiana, who hasn't been great with him on the team. They've been in the playoffs. They've had good playoff runs, but they were. He's always been. Man. He's always been the number 1 guy. He's always been the number 1 guy on that team. He can.
Dude, Roy Hibbert was good in his prime.
He was.
I mean, I'm not declining.
He was good, but for.
It was almost like a 3-way thing, a 4-way thing with Lance and him.
But
Roy Hibbert, George Hill, they were good.
But the difference is, it's 3 people all coming from quote unquote their team to one team together. It just doesn't. It doesn't really
Huge
work.
Problem.
It's Paul George who owned the Pacers since he came into the league.
Yeah. They're all notorious ball hogs.
It's Carmelo Anthony, who came from New York, where he could pull up from the half and nobody would raise an eyebrow. He could do whatever. He could shoot 60 shots. 60 shots a night. Nobody cared. And then you have Westbrook, who it's been his team since Durant left, and he could do whatever you want. He obviously MVP, averaged a triple-double.
Westbrook gets a lot of flack, man. I think he's a good
player. I don't believe in the stat padding, honestly. I think it's his job to grab a rebound, It's his job to make a good pass.
It is. I mean, Steven Adams should be averaging more than 4 rebounds.
That's true. I find that I can't even believe he does that.
Steven Adams is an animal.
He is.
I think he'd average he probably averaged 12. But it's not that Russ is like stat padding; it's just the ball goes to him. Like
Yeah, he goes.
if you watch, it's not like Steven's running out of the way. It's just Russ is always in position. He's good at reading. He reads it off the rim like a big man. I guess I don't know what to say.
He does. He plays with that attacker mentality, and he does attack the ball. You can look at Damian Lillard, Harden, whatever. Those guys, they don't rebound. Quite simply, they stand there. They wait for the outlet pass. They go up the floor.
Whenever Harden gets triple doubles, it's like 10 rebounds.
And then
he had the the 51.
You look at Westbrook with this attacking mentality. This like I'm coming right at your face and dunking on you mentality.
Yeah. How can you hate that mentality?
And then he just the way he plays. When the ball bounces off the rim, he doesn't stand. He runs and jumps in the air and goes after the basketball. It's just the way he's wired.
There's no doubt in my mind. Westbrook could be the number one option on a championship team. I'm confident in that.
I am as well.
Yeah, you agree?
His
I don't think that's saying much. He won MVP, but some people, I think
he needs to become a better passer, better at finding the open man. You know. But offensively,
obviously he's doing something right, and he's averaging a triple double in terms of pass.
And then just one quick thing about just one more shot with this whole team thing. Melo played probably one of the worst seasons he ever played last year.
And it was due to what I believe it was due to the reason I gave, and he's also his age.
Yes, of course, but the way he played in those playoffs was some of the grossest one of the grossest basketball players
Paul
I've
George,
ever seen.
too.
Yeah.
In the elimination game, Paul George was, 4 for 15, 2 for 15? Russell put up 46, and that was
It's inexcusable, you know? He has 14, 16. If he has 25 and Melo has 20,
he has no excuse.
He's
He's played in big playoff games.
Yeah.
He went head against LeBron to go to the finals. Pushed him to Game 7. No excuses. Not for Melo either. They both have playoff experience. That team, I thought that team had a chance, honestly, to go to the conference finals. Even after the regular season.
When they made that signing, everyone thought the same thing. This team is really good on paper. And then they saw him play, and they said, these guys have no idea what they're doing together.
Oh, and also, but Andre Roberson, you might laugh at me, but that's a big piece that they lost. He's their defender.
That is.
He's their other perimeter defender. That's who would have been locking down Donovan.
He's their wingman. It takes out Durant.
He can't shoot free throws or a three to save his life. But,
it takes out.
I mean, Paul George was supposed to take that role, but it didn't really work. He was kind of focusing on the
it eliminates, as you mentioned earlier, that Western Conference wingman that's just so deadly, you know.
Yeah, the Western Conference wingman kills, and Russell Westbrook doesn't play any defense either. So because there's a lot of good point guards in the Western Conference, if you weren't aware. So if he's not playing any defense, obviously. See, the Warriors have it figured out in terms of protecting Steph. Clay's a good perimeter defender. Obviously, Iguodala is a top perimeter defender in the game. Kevin Durant can play a little defense. You need if you want to have, the Celtics did it too. Avery Bradley protected Isaiah Thomas, and now Isaiah Thomas is literally unplayable. If you're gonna have bad defenders, it's okay. A lot of the top scorers are bad defenders, but you need pieces around them. The Houston has Ariza, Capella obviously plays some defense. All these teams have defenders, and that's the one thing the Thunder are missing in the playoffs. That hurt them.
Other than Paul George, obviously, but
yeah, but he wasn't really locking anyone up.
No, he was He was really good in the regular season, not so much in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. It's not like he was taking a big load offensively.
Too much Fortnite.
He was shot 2 for.
All right. So Boogie.
Just wrap it up, kind of thing. How it affects the NBA ruins it for at least a year, in my opinion. You agree on that?
I agree. I totally agree.
I mean, obviously, we don't know how he's going to come back, but he's going to be better than JaVale McGee, which is in essence who he's replacing. He doesn't come back till after the All-Star break.
It's just.
So
yeah, that's obviously a hit. But think about when he comes back and is healthy. It's just ridiculous. The Warriors are already, in my opinion...
Even if he's 75% of what he was,
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Opinion, the greatest team to ever play. Well,
people said that before they got Kevin Durant.
Exactly.
And now they've gotten Kevin Durant. They've gotten 2 more top 15 players.
And it's just what was their weakness? They didn't have a center. They played JaVale McGee and Zaza Pachulia, and now they have an all-star center. So now they have an all-star spots 1 through 5. And
yeah, you were telling me off air. If Boogie was healthy, they could have. They would probably have the 5 starters.
They're probably if Boogie was healthy.
I mean, it's the draft now. It's the draft now, so they don't. I don't know if they're keeping that format, but
yeah,
if it was West versus East, there's not a better point guard than Steph.
There's not. Yeah,
I mean,
Clay.
there's
if
not.
Clay has a good,
if he stays healthy,
if Clay
there's
has
not.
a first half, he's easily in. Durant easily in.
Harden that's the only one because Harden could be the starter there. That's the only one that's probably not.
Durant easily in. Draymond might not be a starter, but easily in.
But who are the power forwards that you take over him? I couldn't think of one on the top of my head. Who are we missing? I mean, Aldridge if he has a big year again. He's in the East. Oh no, West. Is he under center or power forward?
He's under power forward, I believe, because.
Yeah. So but he could get traded.
Yeah.
I could see him getting traded before the deadline, early if things go bad. Heck, I could just see them starting over right now.
Yeah, I don't.
They get the right deal for it.
Yeah.
They just got Julius Randle, so that's a sign of them getting younger. They got rid of Rondo, sign of them getting younger. Do they still have Mirotic, or is that expiring?
I believe they do.
He's just a good scorer to have. He'd be their main scorer kind of thing.
That's not a good sign.
They could get Jaylen Brown. They could get Jaylen Brown and Terry Rozier and the Kings first rounder this upcoming year.
I think
right now, I think
if I'm them, I think that's I mean, if Boston's willing to do that, I don't know why you'd even blink an eye at that deal.
Yeah, Boston would 100% do that. They have 4 first rounders next year. Just give them the best one. You still have
3.
You still have 3, and 2 of them are not theirs, so they're good. 2 of them, I don't know the exact ones. It's confusing, man. I don't know when all these trades happen. When did they get the Kings pick? When did that happen? I can't think of anything between the Kings and the Celtics. In the last 5 years, because Danny Ainge just do this thing where he trades for picks 5 years later, so it's oh, no big deal. And then it's an amazing pick.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's pick's number 1, it's unprotected.
Yeah.
The Kings are going to be better, but it's still going to be top 7 or 8, right?
Yeah.
At least top 10.
Yeah. It didn't.
I don't know
the Celtics trade didn't have to. I mean, this was a long time ago, but never mind. That doesn't make sense. Never mind.
Yeah, but the Celtics are just such a well-run organization.
But who came from the Celtics other than Isaiah Thomas?
Trades must have happened. I mean, obviously there was the Brooklyn trade.
I was going to say Isaiah Thomas, but obviously that's long ago.
The only trade in the last year, but this trade was obviously 3 or 4 years ago. If the picks come in right now.
All right.
They trade for picks that are 3 years in advance. Yeah.
So one last thing that we had noted here was the West. And the
lots
East
of teams
in a way,
that are great, but not elite.
And the East in a way, but obviously not.
It's the East on a smaller scale.
It's
it's the same problem, but with less talented teams.
You're either in both conferences. You're either
it's 2 teams, and then it's no one else. And now it's only 1 team in the West.
You're either
before Cousins, it was 2 teams.
You're either good, and you have a chance, or you have no chance, and that doesn't mean you're not good. It just means you have no chance.
That's how it always is, though. But it's even bigger than that. It's the talent gap is just so extreme, especially in the East. Who is the 3rd best team in the East right now? Who is the 3rd seed? The Raptors, I guess. I guess, but now LeBron's gone. Maybe they can't beat the Celtics or the Sixers. They could be if the Sixers don't do anything, I could see them being the Sixers. To be honest.
Yeah, in my opinion,
they've only ever lost.
This
to LeBron.
Is just my opinion. I think the Raptors are going to completely crumble here in the next 2 to 3 years. I think they're going to completely fall apart.
Well, 2 to 3 years. That's not saying much.
I think obviously next year, I think they all stay together.
They're going to run it back, right?
But I think the year after this, so that would be the 2019-2020 season. I think everyone's gone by that time.
I would just think about this right now. I don't see why they can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals this upcoming year.
Between Boston and Philly, you think they're better than those teams?
I think if they could play, they were the 3 seed and Philly was the 2, and Philly didn't get anyone else. They're still young. didn't play too well last year's playoff. They went to 6 against 6 against Miami and 5 against Boston without their best 2 players. The Raptors have only ever crumbled. They've played really well in the playoffs, other than against LeBron. I don't know what it is, but I could see them being Philly. I don't know. Am I crazy?
I just don't know honestly what Toronto's even playing for. Like they're bland. They're not old, but they're old.
That's kind of the same thing with the same blandness of the team not changing that we talked about earlier with the Trailblazers.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting
the Washington. They're not as old, but when's the last time they made a major roster move?
The same team. It's just getting stale.
These teams just run it back year after failing. It blows my mind. Like, I know it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard being an NBA GM, and I know picking in the 20s, you're not going to get anything unless you're really lucky. But
yeah, it just
blows my mind, man.
It's just the same mediocrity. Whereas I think just a Philly and a Boston, a Philly has new, fresh energy, the process, whatever. They're pissed from last year.
Well, they're not going to add anyone this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Unless they trade for Kawhi.
I think they're just fueled from last year. You got Embiid, you got whoever.
Simmons' performance in the playoffs is really alarming.
I don't think he lets that happen again. And then Boston, obviously, same thing. They got the energy. They took LeBron to 7. They're probably pissed about losing that game.
Well, Boston is without a doubt going to win the Eastern Conference unless Philly trades for Kawhi. I don't think it's even a question.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. And then one final comment is, I think the NBA will not be the NBA again until there's 3 or 4 competiters from each conference, and this is asking a lot right now because there's only one in the whole league. But
if you think about it, if Anthony Davis had stayed, and next year just one of the Warriors' big 4 left, which is likely, I'd say. All of a sudden, you got 14. All of a sudden, you got Houston. You got the Lakers, assuming Clay goes to LA.
Did you say
Lakers, Warriors, Houston? I meant DeMarcus Cousins. If DeMarcus Cousins stayed, you have Lakers, Houston. You have at least 3 teams in the West.
Yeah, and that's exciting. That's fun. Who's gonna win? We don't know.
And then the East. Yeah, the East. You might still only have 2 teams.
But I mean,
the Bucks. If the Bucks could do something, man. The Bucks could get another piece next to Giannis, like another superstar.
Yeah, and
that would be interesting. They better not lose his prime. See, Milwaukee's the type of team to lose that guy's prime. I know they got like 3 years till he hits it, but Jabari Parker and Chris Middleton's just not cutting it.
Yeah,
man. Just not.
Right. I'm just gonna leave it here. If you're an NBA player listening to this and you're considering going to the Warriors, don't. And that's.
If you have 0 rings and you're a veteran, you suck. I don't really care.
No, but the thing about Golden State is we've seen it before. They'll somehow throw them onto the bench and make them a good basketball player. It's like magic.
Well, no,
how is Kevon Looney clocking minutes in the finals and making them useful? It is impressive the way they coach. I think
he was bad. He was bad. Come on, he was bad. He was bad.
But I'm saying I think the way their I think their system is good. I don't believe it. I just don't. I think they got away with it easy, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just how that Western Conference Finals ended. It's so disappointing.
How Sean Livingston is such a good point guard off the bench. How they just come across him when nobody else is really looking at him.
Best stretch point guard in the league, right?
He what did he miss 2 shots all finals?
He was also wide. He was wide open every single time. I don't even want to talk about the Warriors. If we really talk about them.
Well, yeah, we'll pick up.
Was Patrick McCaw hurt?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, because he was good, and I don't know why he was. I was gonna say if Kevon Looney's playing over him.
All right, so that'll do it. That'll do it for the first episode. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for tuning in.
How often are we gonna do? We're thinking about this every other day.
We're gonna try
as much as possible.
Twice a week, twice to 3 times a week. I'd say
probably.
We might do some other sports then.
We'll talk about
maybe some football once we hit August.
Football, baseball.
Because obviously basketball's gonna slow down at the end of July.
But free agency is in full swing. So we want to get all that done. And
Yep.
if you guys want any questions answered, any takes, talked about, make sure to let us know.
We have a
We
Twitter.
do have a Twitter. It's just Talkin'Smack_pod. And capital T, capital S.
Capital T, capital S, capital P.
Yep.
I can link it. We'll put it in the description of the podcast on Apple. So
All right.
easy to find.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.